that what it is?
Hello. Testing. And we're back on this episode of NPR. We're talking about education.
Cute elevator music.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Convo. Today I got Zack Pascual with me.
AKA Kodak Zack, AKA the prettiest Asian. Noted.
The one and only. So today we're going to be talking about education, specifically high school, college. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are some things that can help people not spend $50,000 and go into debt straight off the bat? Use your mind.
Straight like that.
So I got some things to say just straight up. Okay, so first I'm going to just read it script. Let me know if you just chime in wherever you want. First, high school and the way the teachers teach. Okay, and this is directed to the people that have been through high school, and this is kind of a pessimistic way of looking at school, but I'm going to say it anyway. So the way teachers teach. Coming from a student in the classroom, school is boring. It is extremely easy to begin daydreaming, doodling, talking to a friend, or even listening to the birds chirping outside. But that's one of the key factors to making a student bored or unable to focus. They're inside, okay? Not only are the students inside, but they're inside of a bland cubicle, jail cell-like of a classroom with brick walls, eating shitty school
food. Say, as someone who has pretty severe ADHD, being in a square classroom, stagnant for hours upon end is unbearable.
Sitting
pretty much.
Down.
So I know that's how my brain operates. I need to be focused on different things all the time. A lot of these teachers, they just sit up there, regurgitate stuff out of a textbook in a monotone voice.
With someone they don't... Okay, yeah, so on top of that, what he's saying, you're listening to someone that you don't care about talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
With a pretty soothing voice, probably. It's going to put you to sleep, okay? So on top of that, they're sitting down, allowing the physical sense of the body to relax and not stimulate the brain. They're basically asking you to fall asleep. That's what they're doing.
But then they get mad at you when you do, and when you're not engaged the full hour and a half.
Yeah, and then they get mad at you. Okay? Kids love to play, including adults. But kids not only want to play and run around, but they got to. They need to. Okay? So why make them sit in a box and do book work? What is book work going to do for you in 5 to 10 to 20 years from now?
It's all for a degree.
Will you even remember it? Do you remember the book work that you did?
Think about all the information that was taught to you and how much of that could you regurgitate. I'm sure there's a lot of it, but most of it goes in one ear out the other. So it's a giant waste of time.
School is a place where parents send their kids so that they don't have to worry about them while they work. It's a child care center that instead of teaching your kids on how to live in this very complicated real world, they teach them on how to behave in the office. How to sit in their confined cubicle and do numbers and worksheets all day. Just like their parents are doing in the office as they speak. Okay, so after 4 years of the high school, what's next? Well, you have two options, they say. You can either join the workforce or go to college. Let's break those down. The workforce after high school is either doing more book work, like being a receptionist or working or as a waiter, basic jobs, whatever you can get with a high school diploma. Okay? Especially if you're 18, 19, you don't have any experience. I think regardless, you're going to be doing crappy jobs like that, but still, that's what you're going to be doing. You know what I mean? You can't get away from it.
College kind of enables you to branch out into better, more stimulating jobs, stuff like that, but some people don't want to.
You don't get good money.
Thousands of dollars.
You're miserable doing the work you're doing. And then year after year after year, you're going to be busting your ass and then maybe get a managing job. But even then, you're going to be doing depressing work.
Working to survive, and you're becoming a worker bee.
Okay, so let's say you don't go to the workforce, all right? You go to college. College, on the other hand, it sounds like a pretty good idea until you dive into it and end up $40,000 to $80,000 in debt.
More than that. So a lot of times more than that. If you're going to one of these top tier universities,
you can. There's people out there with $500,000 in debt.
Yeah, and if you can afford to send your child to this university, chances are you're not going to get financial aid.
And
so you're basically just gambling on the fact that like once you get through college, it's going to enable you to get a job to where you make enough money to be able to pay off these debts.
But even then, the interest rate is like 11%.
Exactly. So
what, dude? Like, that's insane. That's not
like my dad.
You're catching up, dude. Like, you're not going to pay off your debt until you're like 45,
my dad,
50.
You know, he's a doctor. He has a good job. He makes good money. He's about 50 years old, still paying off student loans, still paying off college debt from 30 plus years ago. And that's someone who makes a good living.
You're still paying off. You know what I mean? Furthermore, when you're a senior in high school, you're eager to go out to college because of all the freedom and partying you'll do. That's all you, by the way, fun fact, that's all you think about when you're a senior in high school is partying. Okay, yeah. So that's what the colleges do. They'll sell that shit to you. And you'll be like, that's all you hear about is when you're 18. You constantly look for parties and adventure, and the universities love it. They're like, okay, we'll be like, yeah, you can come here.
It's a good way to lure you in.
Socialize and party money. And all this other stuff. And be like, yeah, we can party. They don't promote drugs and alcohol and stuff, but like,
they're kind of setting you up for failure.
Obviously, that's going to happen.
By enticing you to go there and, you know, be a part of Greek life and whatnot, which is more money that you have to spend. And at the end of the day, it's just a way to get more money out of you.
College and universities sell the partying status and promise success after 4 years. But also, most people stay in college for more than 4 years.
I really think that being in a fraternity or sorority is not going to help you get a job in the future. Like, it's not really something that is worth putting on your resume.
But that, I mean, that's like...
There's nothing wrong with doing it. Like,
I mean, yeah, that's whatever. That's a whole different topic, honestly, is joining a frat.
Yeah, don't even get us started on... Are you talking down about Greek life?
Are you talking shit about Chi Phi?
Are you talking shit about Beta Theta dog? Like, we can scrap. I can get my brothers right now, like, all 15.
Chad, Thad, and Brad, they're on their way in my dad's boat right now.
all 15 of my brothers on my dad's boat.
They're pounding Jaegers, and they're listening to Linkin Park.
Light as we talk, bruh, and they're ready to go. So what's up? These are my brothers. Like, you don't understand. Like, I've known these dudes for a whole semester, bruh, and we've been through hell together.
And if you don't know anybody, and you ain't got a wristband, or bringing booze or bitches,
you're out of here, dude.
You're dropped.
You're gone.
And you're gone.
Period.
You're not coming in the party.
Ever. Anyway.
You constantly look for parties and adventure, and universities love it, okay? So that's what they sell to you. They're like, oh, you can join a frat, you can socialize, you can do this and that, and you're going to meet lots of friends and stuff. And they're like, okay, but guess what? We're going to give you this bill for $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000 a year so that you can do that
just
stuff.
So you can have friends.
Ridiculous. Then after 4 years, they will have they believe that if they go to college, and then it will be fun and have new friends and learn. But I'll talk about that learning thing in a minute. But then after 4 years, they have a steady job. They're making plenty of money. Maybe get a spouse. Think about having some kids and whatnot. You know, this and that. But in reality, the college graduates are in a deep financial debt, asking mommy and daddy if they can move back in their basement because the one company they applied to didn't want them because they already have a person with a bachelor's degree. Everyone has a bachelor's degree now. You aren't special, bud. That's the real world for you.
Mm-hmm. So if you're not the top of your class, all these jobs that you're applying for,
I mean, like, you'll probably get a job.
You'll get a job, but it's not going to be the
job. But, like, number one, you're going to be in debt. So, like, think about how much money you're going to be making.
Yeah.
And then minus how much every month you're going to have to pay back.
On top of that, you're starting off at the bottom. And if you want to get to the point where you're making good money,
you have to
work your way up. Like, and that's going to take years. So by you working your way up through it, you're still having to survive those years. And basically all the money that you're making now, part of it goes to paying off your debts. Part of it goes to basically just surviving. If you're living on your own, that's even more that you have to pay. It's just like a constant hole that you can't really dig yourself out of unless you play your cards.
It's very stressful and hard to cope with this realization. I would argue that if you stop after high school and kind of join the workforce for a little bit and just realize what you want to study, this is another thing is 80% of college students change their major before graduating. They don't know what they're doing. That means that they're spending 2 years or 3 years or more studying something that they spent thousands and thousands of dollars on studying, but they just completely wasted because they're not majoring in it. It's a class that
a lot of people don't, like, even when they're in college and they're supposed to be figuring out what degree they want, they don't know what they want to do with their life. And then they're stuck to a point where they're like, I don't really have that much time left. Like, I can only spend X amount of years in college. So I have to just choose something.
That's what I was going back earlier is seniors in high school automatically think they're like, oh, I got to go to college right after high school. I got to go to college right after high school.
It's ingrained in your head.
And it's you ever heard this phrase? I can't wait to get out of this fucking town.
All the time. Every senior in high school, I can't wait to get out. I can't wait to get
out of here. Oh my God, I'm going to be so happy. Like, yeah, you may be happy until 4 years later, 5 years later when you get a bill in the mail.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and also, this is what's interesting is I don't think these college students are realizing how much debt they're tacking on because all they see is like a number on the screen. You know, they don't like actually see the physical
they don't take into,
amount of money that they actually will have to pay.
They're not taking
like
credit.
Yeah, like they don't realize that like you will have to pay this money back one day. And they're not thinking about that. They're thinking like only only thinking maybe like a week in advance of their life. They're like, oh, I'm gonna figure out what I want to do next week. I don't really care about this $20,000 bill I gotta pay back.
And a lot of people, like, their parents just can afford to pay for everything.
That too, or their parents just pay for it. But then
you're
what are you gonna get out of that?
Yeah, you're basically going to college just to party for 4 years, and then you're like, live the rest of your life not knowing what you want to do.
And you're gonna waste. How many people ask your parents? Unless I'm not saying this goes for everybody, and like I said, we're talking like a large amount of crap about college. Okay, but there's also some good things. We're only focusing on the bad things right now.
It's it can be a very good thing for you.
Like my dad, he majored in criminal justice. He doesn't use he renovates houses now. Dude, like he doesn't use that degree whatsoever.
My aunt, she got a job in a hotel, or she got a degree in hotel management. She did that for like a year, but
I think back in that time, here's the thing: back in that day, it was kind of necessary to have a college degree.
Do you think it's becoming more necessary or less necessary to have a degree?
I think it's less.
Me too.
I think everybody's getting them nowadays because the internet is making everybody smarter. The way people are teaching are making everybody smarter. Like there's a lot of good teachers out there. And when I said about the whole high school teaching you stuff, that's about like the system, okay? But if like a real good teacher comes into play, they'll actually teach you something. You know what I mean?
Information that you retain.
Yeah, like they'll make up ways to make you memorize it. But if they just sit there in front of you and lecture, you're not going to remember it. And that's most teachers, I feel like.
I feel like for the most part, most of these teachers, they went to college just to be a teacher and not in any specific like field of teaching. They just went to be a teacher. So like basically what they're doing is like they get pretty much a script that they teach, that they have to teach their students before it's curriculum, and then they just regurgitate that throughout. They don't have any in-field experience.
There's this one teacher, my math teacher, I don't know who it was. I don't remember her name, but she said that she hates the way that she has to teach the material that she's teaching, but she's so old that like she can't just quit her job. And I remember her telling me she sends letters to like the politicians.
You're basically like they're teaching you what you need to learn so that you can make a good grade on the test. So that
and that brings up the whole systematic schooling principle.
The
you know what I mean? It's like
very flawed.
It's
more about
memorize
numbers.
This material, take a test on it, and then you'll be okay.
They don't really care if you're like actually learning applicable information or retaining the information. It's just all about soak this into your head for long enough so that when the test comes around, you can get a good number on it, so it reflects back on me as a good teacher and that I taught you well. When in reality, after you take the test, the exam at the end of the semester, you're not going to remember anything you learned from that class.
Not really, no.
And most of the time, a lot of classes in high school, like, you're forced to take, regardless of whether like it captures your interest or not. Like, it's general education.
Like I was saying, this is what I was saying last week. If you're taking calculus and you're about to join the military,
nobody's
What-
gonna.
what-
You're
what are
not
you
gonna
doing?
be. You're not gonna feel motivated to perform well in that class. You're only gonna do.
what are you
the
going to
bare
use
minimum
calculus for?
to pass? And like,
What are you doing? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. There's definitely job fields where math is like a big part of it.
yeah, like if you're
If
banking,
you're gonna be like a chemist, or you're gonna do stuff with numbers, money,
Yeah.
but if
but
you're
that's
gonna be,
that's where the good thing about college is like if you know you want to do that, that's
but
fine.
a lot
but-
of people early on like don't know what they want to do the rest of
yeah,
their
that's
lives.
a problem that a lot of people
And it's
have.
just like you can't really blame people for feeling like that because like there's such a wide variety of choices, and like when you think about a career, you're thinking about like the rest of your life, what you want to spend
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
But
doing.
like,
So,
yeah, but then your mindset's going to be different in 10 years. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
like if you study something for the next 5 to 7 years and then get into that job and then realize you don't want to do this, you're going to back
it's
out.
like now what you have to backtrack, and while you're backtracking, like you're wasting more time, you're wasting more money. Like it's just becomes so hard to the point where like you kind of have to have an idea of like exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like ideally entering college, otherwise you're going to be like confused, and then you're going to have to end up settling for a job that you don't want to work at, just because you can't just be like, once you graduate college, you can't be like, I really don't know yet, so I'm just going to, sit around.
I graduated high school, and all throughout middle school and high school, everybody's like, oh, you have plenty of time to figure out what you want to do. You'll be okay. What do you want to do? Well, I'm here.
And now, boom,
I still don't know
We're
what I
19
wanna
years
do.
old. We don't know what we want to do, but people are like, well, you gotta you gotta either
just
go to
gotta
school
figure
or
it
you
out.
gotta get in the workforce and you gotta figure it
I
out.
do.
It's like we're treated as if we're throughout high school. We're treated as if we're kids, and then as soon as you graduate, you're a grown adult and responsible.
And
for
then
all these
everybody's
different
like,
things.
oh, you don't know what you want.
Yeah,
I've never had that happen to me.
you
They're
dropped
like,
out
oh,
of college,
you don't know what you want
you,
me to do.
you have no motivation. Like you don't know.
It's
where
like,
you're
but
going
in
life.
reality, it's like, no, I just need more time to figure it out.
exactly.
But then again, it's like, I've been thinking about this for the past 12 years anyway. So it's like, it's kind of.
There's really like, I don't think there's like a right answer either. It just has to be something that like you kind of have to.
I think it's
'cause
just.
you're not
I think
going to
it's
work
like.
your ideal dream job. Like most people aren't going
Yeah.
to end up, unless like you want to be a banker when you grow up or whatever. Like work some 9 to 5 cubicle job, and like yeah, you can do that if you want. But like nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, that's. I think the only answer I think of when I think about this is slow down. Okay. Take a step back. Think about this for a second. Think about what you want to do. Ask people for advice. Like ask your teachers for advice. Be like, well, like I don't know what I want to do. Here's my personality type. What
It should be more about like
what do you think I should do?
the
And
job.
then give a list
Yeah.
of jobs, look into them, and then be like, maybe I'm interested.
The
maybe
job-
I'm not. High school doesn't do that. High school, like I haven't had a class dedicated. A whole class dedicated to finding out what I want to do. Like I haven't had.
It's
They
not
have
about
career
that.
fairs.
It's not about that. Well, I will say the classes that I took at Career Center were a lot more like focused. So like they were more like whatever.
On that career.
Yeah,
that
it's
you're
like
talking about.
so when I took GoPo, it just taught you everything about government and politics, and like I'm interested in that. So like it caught my interest, and my teacher also had in-field experience. So like he wasn't just regurgitating the curriculum that he knew what he was talking about, and like that resonates a lot more. Like when you can tell that your teacher has been there and they know what they're talking about, it's like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this dude because
Yeah, I had an English teacher like that. That was really good. I have several English teachers.
Yeah,
And we went to really good high schools too.
that too. Think about all the teachers who are going to like high schools in bad areas and stuff. So like they're not going to be because
They're
their
not
kids.
going to have,
their
right.
kids are
and
not
they probably
showing
have
them.
worse teachers than we did.
The
I already
kids-
know half the teachers I had were terrible.
Yeah,
They were just they were exactly what I just described.
but I mean, I've had some good teachers, but
I've had great teachers.
Most of the
That's
the
not a
good
lot.
teachers I've had an actual passion about what they were teaching, and that's very important.
You got to care about. They got to care about the kids, man.
Yeah, you can tell
for the kids.
they dedicated their life to learning this information so they could teach it. It's not just
And
somebody.
they I don't think that they would teach that information if they don't think it was valuable.
Mm-hmm. But
You know
on
what
the
I mean?
other hand, you have teachers who are like, they just get stuck teaching, and then it's just like, oh, well, I'm a teacher. Like I've had teachers who went to like Chapel Hill, Duke.
Yeah, I'd wait.
All these prestigious colleges just to become a teacher. And like, there's nothing wrong with being a teacher at all whatsoever. But like, I just don't know, like back in the day, if like the pay gap was this severe as it is now, because teachers are getting paid dirt.
Yeah, they do deserve.
And that's another thing.
I do think we need more great teachers, and we need to pay teachers more so that more people would want to do it.
The teachers are the building blocks for like what our generation is going to be, because they're the ones putting the information into our brain, and we're the ones who are going to have to use it moving forward. So like, if you don't have teachers who are waking up every day and they want to go to work and they want to teach kids, they just go because that's their job. Like, I've had
50% of the teachers are like that, though.
That's not good at all. And, some of them you can't blame them because they're not making good money. They're not teaching the subject that they want to teach.
They're just succumbing to the system.
They're not, and their kids aren't, like acting like they're interested in class. So they're just going to come into work every day and just be nonchalant.
This is coming from us who actually have had I didn't have too many at-home problems. Like, imagine if a kid had at-home problems. What if they didn't even know what they were having for dinner that night? They're not going to pay attention in class.
At the same time,
the teacher's not going to be teaching them anything.
At the same time, it's like, it's not the teacher's job to like cater to all the individual needs of every student, but you have to take those things into account. And a lot of teachers don't care. Like, they look at it as, if you're not completely interested in the topic I'm teaching, that means like you just don't care about school, and I'm going to treat you like that. So
there's a lot of teachers that like that. That's the thing.
When in reality, like, there could be things going on at home, like a whole bunch of.
They could be sick.
They could be sick. They could,
They could have ADHD and not even know it.
Exactly. That was dude. ADHD made school for me just so.
I think every kid has ADHD
to a degree.
To a degree, yeah.
Definitely. Like, when you spend your whole life in a classroom, bro, it just kind of makes you like despise that setting. I feel like
you have to do it. Like, that's another thing is, I think naturally kids are just naturally curious and would learn on their own, but they're being forced to sit in this block cell in this desk and listen. Like I said, listen to this person that they don't care about. They probably have things going on in their head that they want to worry about. They're not paying attention. You know what I mean? Like, it's not effective. There's something we can do that will better the way we teach our kids.
I mean, yeah.
And here's an easy but complicated way is we need better teachers. How do we do that? Pay them more.
Pay them more. But how do you do that?
Need more money. And then that brings me to the next topic is I don't want to talk about politics too much, but this has like. The politicians are taking money from the public school system, and they're either, I don't know what they're doing with it. That's the problem.
Outsourcing it to other places where it doesn't need to be. Like, I feel like as a country, as America, we put so much money into our military.
How much was college 40 years ago compared to now? How much was college?
Yeah,
I guarantee you, it's inflated a ton.
Not to say that education should be free, because knowledge is valuable, and like, you're paying for what you get. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more money you pay, the more prestigious university. Like, on paper, like, ideally you'll be learning better information from better teachers, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, knowledge is free. Like, you can teach yourself.
You do have the internet, by the way. I don't think people... Let's talk about that for a second. I don't think people realize the power of the internet. Like, you could teach yourself a whole subject just on your laptop.
Everything is on the internet. If you want to learn about
you can teach yourself
anything, you can Google it, and there's people out there who know what they're talking about that post things on the internet. But people would rather use the internet to just get on social media and waste time, basically.
Just they're frying their brain with unuseful knowledge. Like, if they would. And like,
I talk down about it, but like, I'm guilty to it.
Oh,
too.
yeah, I know.
It's really like a trap that you can't really avoid in this day and age, unless you just go off the map completely and go completely rogue and just dedicate all your time to like educating yourself. Then you're gonna get caught in that system, because like us, like in particular, like I feel like we realize what's going on like socially, but like it's still hard to like escape it and not be a part of it, and that's the crazy part.
Got the trends going on. Yeah,
it's like
that's a whole.
It's like
we'll save social media for a later date.
I think we should talk about it now. I mean,
no, because
that could be a whole
we're already
podcast,
at 25 minutes. We're gonna end it here. I think we got some opinion from Zack Pascual and myself about education in the high school and the college problem. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments. Share them.
Let us know what topics you want us to talk about.
What's going on in your brain? How is your high school experience? How is your college experience? Are you in debt? How? Why? What's going on?
Are you happy with the amount of time that you spent in high school, and do you think that it was used for the purpose of learning, or were you there because you had to be there?
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll probably know the answer to that for most people. But and here's another thing. Let me just, before we end it.
Okay.
So like the way the system is set up now is like what constitutes like intelligence is like the amount of work that you put into a certain subject. So like if I'm sitting in a classroom and the person next to me, so I'll go home, I play sport, I'll go to practice, boom, and then go home, spend like maybe an hour on homework.
I never studied.
They go directly home, spend all their time doing homework just so they can retain the information they're being taught. That doesn't make that person smarter than me. That just means they spent more.
They agree to abide by the system that they are taught.
Yeah, and like
that's why people who are more agreeable, this is a psychology term, people who are more agreeable do better in school because they're willing to do every assignment that they are given. If I get an assignment, I'm looking at this piece of black and white paper saying, what is this going to do for me? I'm not doing this.
What makes me want to do this?
Like, I'm thinking outside of the box here. Like, I'm thinking like, that's what the way I feel is though. Like, I'm thinking like, you're trying to teach me how to turn this piece of paper in on time and in a decent manner. And then you're going to give it back to me with a number on it.
And that number
that's going
is
to
supposed
determine
to
how
constitute
smart I am. That doesn't make any sense, but
at all. And how many people do we know? Like, not trying to call anybody out, but like super book smart. Just, they do very well in school. But like when it comes to social situations and like common sense, like the real world, they're a completely different person.
Yeah, no, they have no common sense whatsoever. But they're book smart.
So they can sit here.
Like they can't critically think in a situation. You know what I mean? Like if you bust a tire on the side of the road, okay, and you don't have any common sense whatsoever, you're not going to have the common sense to use the tools that you have at hand to change that tire. Use your physical body strength to pick up that tire and put it on the thing, and then screw that bitch back on in there.
What is your 4.6 GPA going to do for you in situations like that? Absolutely nothing.
Or if you get stranded on a desert island, what's gonna deserted?
I mean,
island.
These are like very exaggerated. I mean,
you're like,
still,
what's your book smart gonna do then?
What's your GPA gonna do for you? You gotta have common sense
in that situation.
Exactly. If you run out of gas on the side of the road, like stuff like that, stuff that actually happens in the real world. School doesn't teach you how to deal with those problems. They don't teach you how to file taxes.
Or pay bills.
They don't teach you how to pay bills.
They don't know how to check your credit score. They don't know how to make your credit score
all of that.
Better.
You're not taught how to do that.
You're not taught how to fill out a fucking FAFSA.
Yeah. You don't know how to do
in high school.
Things,
and they say, oh, college is the next step. You haven't even taught me how to fill out the freaking application. Exactly. What do you mean? You're telling me it's the next step, and you're saying to tell me to go to college? But you're not even doing that for me?
We know, like, the mitochondria is, like, the powerhouse of the cell.
At
least we know that, bro. Yeah, and, like, we're going to use that all the time. So, like, I'm glad I learned that every year in school. Cellular structures and stuff like that. It's very relevant information.
Because Abraham Lincoln, dog, I need to know all about it.
Dude, one time in middle school, my history teacher.
Shout out Abe.
Miss Siganano. I'm gonna call her out. Because I know she's not gonna watch this. Yeah, but we learned about first of all, no disrespect. We learned about 9/11 until March.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's fine.
there's nothing wrong with learning about it's
just like don't spend 7 months doing it.
Exactly. It's 7 months learning about the same thing. It's like it doesn't take that long to teach you.
Why don't they teach you how to critically think? Honestly, like they just teach you like the foundation that then you can use critical thinking to use that information to apply to critical thinking.
In this
day
and age,
teach you how to critically
you have
think.
to develop that skill set. Like
on your own. Yeah, you do. I agree with that. I think that's kind of on your, and I think that comes from just being outside, being in social situations.
Yeah.
You know, when we went to the mountains and we went hiking and stuff.
Yeah.
A great way to think about this. Why don't we have more field trips too? Anyway, you go to the mountains, right, and you see a big old rock sticking out of the earth. That's geology at its finest, right there, bud. All right, you know exactly. Okay, if you got taught the last day, right, about geology, okay, about the earth, about the earth crust and stuff, and you learn about a little bit of life and how it reproduces and plants and other stuff like that, pollination, whatever. Then you get taken to the mountain, all right, on top of a mountain. You hike up that mountain and you see for yourself firsthand what geology is all about. Boom. That's how you teach a lesson right there. You don't just sit here and talk about it in a classroom.
And show people pictures of it.
Because they're not going to comprehend what you're saying. They're going to be like, oh, it's the earth. I see a picture of it in a book, but like, I don't care. But what if you took them out there and you straight up put them in a real situation? They're going to learn no problem.
And like, let's say in like any class where they're talking about money, there should be like programs.
Why don't you play Monopoly?
There should be programs where like they teach you about the stock market. They teach you how it works, how to manage your money, how to make good investments, what constitutes a good investment versus a bad investment, things like that. What you should invest in. They don't teach you about any of that. And that's the stuff that like actually matters, that you're gonna need to know moving forward, regardless of like.
Let's just put it like this: the school system is not up to par
at all.
Okay, and what's making it as good as it is right now is the teachers that are doing it. Period. Is the great teacher, because there are great teachers out there. I believe that because I've been through it. All right, it's those people that deserve more pay. All right, we need more of those people. We need more people that will make school and learning fun. Figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure they.
It's only going to be people are only going to be more and more discouraged to become teachers in the future, because now our generation, growing up, like we've all been taught about how the fact that teachers make no money. So nobody is going to want to become a teacher anymore, unless you want to be a professor or something.
Yeah, but even then, dude, that's a totally different subject.
And you have to spend way more time in school to become a professor.
Yeah, you got to get a like master's or a PhD or something, dude. But dude, like they're just honestly, the school system's a freaking assembly line for students, for kids. They want you to get in.
It's all about production.
They want you to come in. Okay, they take care of you. They feed you a meal, and then they send your ass home to your mom and dad. All right, they take care of you while your mom works and is a real world citizen and being productive, doing a real job. That's kind of what school is a playground for growing and more growing students or children.
But a lot less fun.
Yeah, and then they subsidize it, or I don't know if that's the right word, but they teach you while you're there. They're like, oh yeah, we'll teach you everything you need to know about the real world.
But then when you graduate, you get thrown into the real world, and it's like,
and then they expect you.
I don't know what the hell is going on, because everything that I learned in school basically is not helping me right now. Like, I have to pay rent. Whatever I learned all 12, 13 years throughout school is not helping me pay rent. It's not helping me do the things that I need to do to survive. So, like...
All right, we're at 35 minutes. This has been a conversation with Zack Pascual. We were both high school students, college students. That's our opinion on it. What's your opinion? Like I said, sorry it went over 30. It's at 35 minutes, but it's okay.
Ain't no problem. Ain't nothing wrong with some good stimulating combo.
Yeah. We got some big things planned for this channel.
Yep.
And this
check
podcast.
out my YouTube, Zack and Mav. New video coming out this weekend. It's gonna be lit. good content. That's what we're out here trying to do, is just make good content for the people.
And this coming Tuesday, this will probably air then. Next Tuesday, we got some big plans with Melissa Daniels. We're going to be talking and having an interview with her. Me and him are we're kind of amateurs, okay? We don't really, what if we don't know what we're talking about? All right, well, this lady does, okay? She's very smart.
We're just very intelligent. Coming on here and spewing our thoughts. You know, we could be wrong.
Yeah, but no. It don't matter if we're wrong or right, because what we said is what we think.
It's from the heart.
You know what I mean? So it's fine. So she's going to kind of clarify some things, maybe give us some answers from her perspective. So that's what's going to be really interesting. So if you don't mind, tune in next week. Tune in this week. We've got some big things planned. All right, that's it. Convo over.
Peace.